And much of the book recounts some of that. The cover photograph, I don't know if you can see that, but was taken in Hoi An, Vietnam. And I thought that of the different book covers, this sort of captured what I thought the book was about. There are these probably 10 to 12 men on a boat. And they were going to work. This was at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And there are dozens, maybe 50 bicycles smashed onto this boat. And the waves, not waves, but kind of the ripple effect from the water, from the motor, is almost imperceptible. And the boat was moving almost imperceptibly. And I remember looking at it, being struck at how different people think about pace and slowness and movement in their lives in different parts of the world. And when I was writing this book, mainly in about 2002, 2003, 2004, I was working on trying to slow down in my own life. And so travel helped me with that. There are a lot of poems also in the book about water, and I'll start with one of those, and then I'll read some of the Latin American poems. Can you hear me okay? This was written after Hurricane Katrina, and I think it speaks for itself. Although I will just say that I still have an image of a woman on top of her roof, and the helicopters were kind of swirling around the city, and she had an American flag, and she was screaming to the camera person who was filming her life get destroyed. She was screaming about God and being saved and all of this. And that woman's voice was in my head for a while. This poem emerged from that. It's called 1,000 Saxophones. And it's after Hurricane Katrina, a poem for the living and the dead. You can live by the water and still die of thirst. I said, you can live by the water and still die of thirst, or the worst nightmare come true, that body of water taking over the bodies. Sometime tonight, see which echoes most, a whisper or a scream. Make it something beautiful, like we will endure, or yes, I love you. Sometime tonight, think of water, how it purifies or terrifies, cleanses, gives, and takes away. Think how fast some things can rise. Water, fear, the intensity of prayer. Officials in New Orleans said they want to save the living, and I hope they do. But I also hope they can honor the dead. On Bourbon Street, there were over 3,000 musicians employed on any given day. Last night, before I fell asleep, I imagined what 1,000 saxophones would sound like if they all played together. 1,000 saxophones, different songs, different tempos, Dixieland, Miles Davis. Maybe it would sound like birds or bombs, planes or preachers praising the word on a hot Sunday, and the congregation saying amen, some people whispering it, some people screaming it. Maybe it would sound like lightning tearing open the sky, or 1,000 books slammed shut after a horrible conclusion, or 1,000 children crying for their mothers or fathers. Last night I thought, how far would 1,000 saxophones echo from New Orleans or Biloxi? Would we hear them in Fresno? Could we imagine the sound? Could Baton Rouge? Could Washington, D.C.? I don't know what I should tell you, but I feel like the saints are marching. They're singing a slow, deep, and beautiful song, waiting for us to join in. This next poem is called raison d'etre. My French is probably poor there. Just translates to reason for being.